Mom wished my sister had married my husband instead of me, and sister's been coming over when I'm gone, walking around in towels, and it turns out my husband actually can't stand her. I am upset at my mom and my sister because of something my mother said, but everyone around me feels I'm overreacting. Please be brutally honest in telling me if I am being insecure, or if my mom and my husband are wrong in this. Let me give you a bit of backstory. My husband James, 34M, and I, 29F, were neighbors growing up. My sister, Fran, 34F, was in the same grade as my husband growing up. Everyone knew my sister in school because she is very smart and beautiful. James had a huge crush on her and all of us knew about it. He asked her out for senior prom and Fran shot him down, in front of the whole school. They still remained friends, but he moved to a different state for college, and we did not hear much from him, except see him when he came back for holidays. James and I were never friends growing up, since I was in middle school when this happened. In fact, I was much younger than both of them, and they would actively avoid me or involving me in their hangouts and activities. I went to a good college and got my first job in the same city as James. My mom suggested I should contact James, since I did not know anyone there. We became friends and 3 years later, we got married. We both have high-paying jobs and love our life. We moved back to our hometown during COVID as James's mom had health issues, and our jobs allowed us to work remotely. Fran also had a pretty good life. She married when she was 23 and her husband was pretty well off. 2 years ago, Fran discovered that he was cheating on her for almost the entire duration of their marriage with multiple partners, and she decided to break things off. Fran moved back with my mom. Fran had not worked for the entire duration of their marriage and was expecting to gain significant alimony from the divorce. However, due to complications regarding prenup, she barely got anything and is struggling financially. She got a job but is barely able to afford her own place and continues living with my mom. James and I were very supportive of her during the whole process. Since James and Fran were friends growing up, they both have a special bond. They have their inside jokes and stories, and I sometimes feel like a third wheel when we all meet. However, James keeps his distance and has never given me any reason to believe that he has lingering feelings for her. Fran, on the other hand, constantly visits us, like 2 to 3 times a week, and ends up staying for dinner and sleeping in our guest room. I don't mind her coming over, but I do not like the fact that she talks more to James than with me. Also, she always comes over when I am not at home, and I often find them sitting next to each other on sofa and watching TV when I get home. It sort of reminds me of my childhood where I was locked out of our basement when Fran had friends over, and I would feel left out. Fran is also too comfortable around James and walks around the house in just a towel after her shower when James is around, or sleep in her underwear in guest room without locking the door. I have voiced my concerns to her, but she says that we are family, and she does not care. I have also voiced my concerns to James, and he does make efforts now to explain stories and inside jokes if Fran makes them. The main issue happened this weekend. I was hanging out with my mom and Fran last weekend, and Fran was recollecting stories about how James would do her homework and do chores for her growing up. She said he was so much in love with me, and I felt guilty taking advantage of him. My mom jokingly said to her that I wish you had the wits to marry James than your loser husband and you would have not been in this situation. Fran smiled after hearing that and nodded, but I was hurt by the comment. I protested to my mom that James is my husband, and I do not want her to make such comments about him. My mom doubled down and said that she feels like it because both James and I are high earners, while Fran is struggling. So, it would make sense if Fran was married to James, and I would be fine since I do not need James to support me financially. She kept on saying that it was a hypothetical, and just wants both her daughters to be happy. I did not like those comments and told them to not speak like that about James and my marriage in general. Fran chimed in and told me that I should not take the comments so personally, and I am being too sensitive. However, I had a fight with both of them, and I left. When I came home, and told James, he also sided with my mom and Fran and told me that her mom just made a harmless joke. I also raised the issue of Fran's behavior around our house, and he told me that this is between me and my sister, and he is not going to tell Fran about what she can or cannot wear in our house. However, I am just feeling really bad since the situation, and despite everyone apologizing to me, things just don't feel right. Am I wrong here in reacting the way I did, or does everyone else have a point, and I should be more secure about my relationship with James? Comments where Op has replied, Commenter, NTA, your mother's comment was inappropriate and disrespectful towards your marriage, and it's concerning that your husband is dismissing your feelings about Fran's behavior. It's not about insecurity, it's about wanting respect in your relationship and home. Op, this has been a pattern through my life. Due to age difference, Fran has always treated me like a kid. I just felt insulted that my mom completely ignored my feelings while making such comments. However, a part of me also has been jealous of Fran because of all the attention she got, and I was the nerdy little weird girl in our family. Commenter: I'm waiting for Fran to try attempt something with your husband within 3 to 6 months. Also, you need to tell her no more sleepovers or just showing up. And put some clothes on for God's sake. And this is a firm boundary. And no, you don't care if they think you're overreacting. This is how it's going to be. All these comments have me really alarmed. I am going to talk to my husband regarding this. I do not want to be accusatory, but this whole situation has made me really insecure, and I was barely able to sleep last night. I trust him with all my heart, but I really am rethinking all the things Fran has done around him and how she has undermined and belittled my feelings on every occasion. As for my mom, I got a half-assed apology from her last night about how she just blurted out something stupid and how I am overreacting to all this, and she only wishes the best for both her daughters. Update: October 22, 2024. Thanks everyone for all your support on my previous post. To summarize what happened, my mom made a really off-putting comment that she wished my sister, Fran, was married to my husband, James. I got really mad, and my husband also tried to undermine my feelings and told me I was overreacting to a harmless joke. Sorry for the long post, but a lot of you were messaging me for update, and wanted to tell what happened. The comments really made me paranoid, and I did see everyone's point that James may have just married me because of his crush on Fran. This really shot up my anxiety, and I started snooping around. My husband literally makes me check his phone for new messages when he is not around. So, I knew there was nothing to hide there. However, I was spooked by how my sister always knows when I am not at home, and why James and Fran are always sitting on the same couch when I come home. I tried talking to my husband, and he told me that my feelings were valid. However, he also said that Fran is going through a tough time and refused to say anything bad about my mom and Fran. Last Friday, I went to gym as usual in the evening, and when I came home, Fran was sitting in the living room, while James was cooking dinner. I got a bit angry and asked her what she is doing here. She said had no plans for the night, and she came to hang out with us. It really annoyed me, and I told her that I wanted to spend a quiet weekend with my husband and if she can come some other time. She could see I was upset. She started saying how our mom was just being silly, and I need to let it go since it was just a joke. I told her I did not find it funny, and we got into a fight. She said that I am always an insecure, annoying kid and no wonder no one liked me. It really hurt me, but James stepped in and told Fran that she needs to leave. I have never seen James be so forceful with Fran. Fran muttered some unpleasant things to James, and then left. I was in tears by the end of the whole thing and James was consoling me. I was really upset and spent the night in our room alone. In the morning, I prepared notes on all things I wanted to ask James. Your comments really helped me get my thoughts straight. I know I was being very insecure, but after reading the comments, I really started questioning if James really married me for me, or just because I was Fran's sister and looked like her. People called me Dollar Store Fran in high school. James and I had a long conversation, and I told him my anxieties and insecurities. I told him how it makes me feel that he spends so much time with Fran when she visits us, and they have their own inside jokes. I asked him if he still has feelings for her. He was calm and smiling the whole time. He told me that he will tell me the truth but does not want me to hate him for it later. He said that he knows Fran used him all through their school days, because she knew he liked her. When he went to college, Fran still tried to keep in touch with him, but putting distance between them made him realize how badly she treated him, and he decided to just cut contact with her so that he can work on himself. That was the reason. He rarely visited us when he used to come for holidays and stopped being friends with Fran. I told him that it bothered me that he chose Fran before me and ignored me during our childhood. That was the reason I always had that doubt if I was his second choice. He said that I was 13 when he went to college and if he would have liked me instead of Fran at that age, we would be having a different problem. He told me that when I contacted him, he thought that I must be like Fran and was not very enthusiastic to meet me. However, after we hung out for a few times, he realized I am nothing like Fran. We soon became close, started dating and got married after a few years. He told me that Fran was married by then, and he saw that I always put Fran on the pedestal and would get jealous when Fran posted vacation pictures or the new shiny things her husband bought for her. That was the reason he never told me that he does not like hanging around Fran, as he feels that for me, Fran was always the North Star. He told me that he has always kept his distance from Fran, and she was a non-issue since we would meet her only few times every year. However, after her divorce, he did not know how to act. He said that he was grateful to me for uprooting our lives and moving back to our hometown for his mom's health. He wanted to do the same and take care of my family. When Fran got divorced, He supported her in every way he could for me, even though he realized it meant spending a lot of time with her and listening to her bring up all the memories from high school that he wants to forget. I told him it bothered me that Fran came to our house as often as she does, and generally in evenings when I go to gym. He told me that he also finds it odd that she knows my gym routine and always comes on evenings when I am not at home. However, he told me that he has always kept his distance from her, and if she did anything that would raise an alarm, he would have told me immediately. She just makes him all the old movies or TV shows they watched growing up, and gossips endlessly about their high school friends. He told me I need to trust him, and if I want him to be the bad guy and ask Fran to not visit us often, he can do that for me. However, he knows that I will eventually make up with my mom and Fran and does not want to blame him for being mean to Fran. However, he told me he will not tell Fran what to wear around the house, as it would be creepy if it came from him. I felt I got all the assurance I needed from James, and I will never doubt how amazing of a husband he has been. My mom and Fran visited us on Sunday, and my mom profusely apologized to me. She told me she does not want me to feel bad for her comment and she would never wish anything bad on my marriage. She meant to say that James was a great guy, and she hopes Fran can find someone like him one day. Fran was a bit sour but apologized to us for all the name calling on Friday and told us that it's just her hormones. She said that she likes hanging out with her sister and her best friend, and hence comes to our house. I told her she is welcome to come anytime she wants, but to call ahead of time in case James and I have plans for the evening, and she agreed. I really want to move past this issue, but I do want to put some firm boundaries on when Fran can come to our house and hang out with James alone, as I know it bothers him too. Overall, I feel things are good now. I am glad my worst fears did not come true, but I do feel I need some therapy in order to deal with my insecurities. Next story. GF wanted an open relationship because she was curious to explore. After our breakup, she confessed she'd been cheating for months, slept with him right after we split. Hello everyone. I've, 19M, been with my girlfriend, 20F, for about 2 to 3 years now. Things have always been good between us. We had a solid relationship, sweet moments, and all the usual stuff that comes with being in a serious, committed relationship. From the beginning, we were clear that our relationship would be exclusive. I'm strictly monogamous. I don't have anything against open relationships or polyamory, but it's just not something I could handle in a serious relationship, where my feelings are involved. Lately, though, things started to get weird. She began making comments about other guys, saying how she found some random dude sexy or how attractive someone else was. At first, I just brushed it off and didn't make a big deal out of it, but these comments became more frequent, and honestly it started to feel a bit overwhelming. Then came the real shocker. She told me she was starting to get interested in other people. She said she still loved me, but she wanted to explore things both personally and sexually, so she then asked, "What if we open the relationship?" I was stunned for a moment and nervously laughed, which she noticed. I half joked, half seriously replied, "Then I'm not going to be a part of it, ha ha." She got the hint, but still kept pushing the idea. I got frustrated and asked her why she wanted this. She said she was curious and wanted to explore her sexuality without damaging the emotional bond we had. I was taken aback but responded, "I support your decision to explore, but if you want that, then forget about me. You know very well that exclusivity is crucial to me in a serious relationship." This led to a heated argument. She accused me of being closed-minded and called me a coward for not being willing to try something new. Those words hurt, and later that night in my home I lay in bed wondering if there was a way to talk this through or find some middle ground. We did eventually meet up again to discuss things more calmly, but no matter what, I just couldn't accept the idea of opening the relationship. Even if I also had the freedom to see other people, it was a solid no from me. I told her, "I'm sorry, but we couldn't come to an agreement. You know my stance on this kind of relationship. I'm glad you want to explore this, but unfortunately, I won't be the person to do that with. Let's just end things now, save ourselves the drama, and move on. You'll have the freedom to do what you want, and I won't have to deal with the anxiety of knowing you're with someone else." She didn't take it well, called me selfish again, and repeated that I was insecure. At that point, I just stayed silent and let her say what she needed to say. We both sat there for a while, both of us with tears in our eyes. We eventually said our goodbyes. She still told me everything she previously thought about me, and after I got home, I saw that she had blocked me on everything. I just let out a sigh and laid down on my bed. Right now, I'm focusing on myself and moving forward, trying to maintain zero contact with her. So, Ida for breaking up with my girlfriend because she wanted an open relationship, even though she knew my stance on it? Edit. Thanks you all for your comments. I really can't reply to all of them, but I read all them. You all really give me good advices, and also some reasons that I will reflect on. Anyway, THX if something happens these days and I see it conveniently, I'd make an update. October 27, 2024. For the record, forgive me if this have some errors, as this post will be raw and English isn't my first language. Now, I will give you more context. It's been 5 days since we broke up. During these days, I have been reflecting, mostly due to some comments on the previous post, mentioning that maybe she was always like this, that we were just incompatible, that we are young, and that she has the right to explore her sexuality or whatever. I admit I shouldn't have done it, but I kept thinking and racking my brain more and more, was she really like this? I didn't pay attention to this when we made the relationship official, because this felt so strange to me when we decided to make things serious, cause I asked for exclusivity, and she agreed, even emphasized it herself, which left me more and more confused. Anyway, yesterday I ran into her. I know, that maybe was an error. I tried to ignore her, but I couldn't, since now she wanted to talk to me and I was about to reject her, but my thoughts got the better of me, and I agreed, mainly to ask her about my doubts. We went to her house, and although she tried to be nice, I just asked her to get to the point. We sat down at the table and talked. She tried to ask me how I was doing, but I just dodged the question, and then I confronted her again, asking why she was now bringing up polyamory and all that after so much time being with me, after even she agreed to exclusivity and emphasized it. When I said this, I raised my voice, basically shouting at her. Then I got my answer, and although it was predictable, it still shocked me. Long story short, yes, she has indeed been emotionally cheating on me and was tempted to do it physically. I just stood there, stunned, took a deep breath, and even though I was really angry, I asked her, since when and with whom? According to her, she spent the last 2 months with a guy she met at her college, which coincides suspiciously with when she started acting weird. I raised my voice again, asking what she thought by not telling me. Did she think I was an idiot, even trying to manipulate me to open the relationship? She said that she didn't want to lose me, that she loved me, and as for opening the relationship, it was advice from her friends. I must clarify that not all of them are women. They told me that she had the right to explore while still being with me, that they even do it, and they still with their partners, and some of their partners have no idea about it. What a shitty people in this life. Honestly, I had a fucking urge to scream at her as loud as I could, but I had to keep my composure. I asked her what she did with this guy, if they were still in touch. She just told me that the same day we broke up, she slept with him, but later she regretted it, and in these last few days, she realized her mistake and wanted to be honest with me now, with the possibility to give her another opportunity. I couldn't deal with her anymore, and I told her she had almost 3 fucking months to be honest with me, and instead tried to manipulate me into falling into her trap so she could walk away without any guilt. I told her that if she wants to cry, go ahead, cause I won't give her another chance, and I don't care anymore because I lost the little respect I had for her. With a knot in my throat from the hurt, I told her clearly that I never want to see her in my fucking life again, and that if she sees me in a store, she should avoid me and go somewhere else because I don't want to see or hear her. She broke down crying again, begging me to forgive her, grabbing my shirt to stop me from leaving. I pushed her away, opened the door, and slammed it shut once I got home, and it would be a lie to say I didn't shed tears. We're young. She wanted to explore her sexuality, and she's right to do so. She was right to tell me. She is not the asshole either. Pure bullshit. Now, I'm still incredibly hurt. I feel worse than when I started, and I feel like an idiot for even crying, knowing this could have been a possibility. I will see if I can get back on my feet and move on. Even though I'm still hurt, that's the only thing I can do. Man, I really thought I had a decent girlfriend. Frown.